All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Greetings. Good to see you here. -1 Fahrenheit in Chicago. Shit. Yeah. The Gulf of Petroleum. I think that's been the unofficial name, hasn't it? The Gulf of Oil. This is what I have heard. Yes. That it has been renamed. I don't know who that helps or confuses. Is it confusing anybody? Doesn't matter. It's the Gulf of America because we're going to be the North American Union soon. The greater United States of America. Is this preemptive? Anyways, good to see you all. We're live on Rockfin, Rumble, YouTube. My show was taken down from YouTube yesterday because of I played the Dave Chappelle clip. These people are petty. It's just like a 15-second clip, and they blocked my video, and I just don't feel like going in and editing it out. So if you want to watch yesterday's video, it's on Rockfin and Rumble. It's not on YouTube. I mean, it's just so they're being petty because they want to slap my hand every chance that they get. So they either demonetize all my videos, or they take down my videos if I use any content whatsoever that's even close to copyright. So, YouTube doing YouTube things. Kind of acceptable. Or expectable. Not acceptable, expectable. All right. Thank you. I did get a donation yesterday on Rockfin. Carrie Nanstead tipped me $40. Thank you, Carrie. She said, I hate Messenger. I won't sign up with it on FB. Never trusted it. Thanks for the report. So she's talking about the thing I played about Facebook Messenger yesterday, which is very concerning. I don't know. I should, give up all these apps. I do use them to connect and to promote myself and promote things that I'm doing. I don't know. I don't know what the trade. I don't know if it's a worthwhile trade-off or not. Stay on the apps, or to have all your data scraped, or to have all your um, devices located in your house, or to have everything, have yourself constantly surveilled upon. I don't know. I think the Gulf of methane. Yeah. Um, I think what I might focus on is trying to find alternative platforms. I know they're out there. So before I delete all of my platforms, what I might do is start cultivating some other platforms and trying to get people like, hey, I'm gonna be over here. This is where I'm gonna be. This is the best place to find me. Just as kind of a backup, I guess. So I think what I'll do is try to cultivate a couple of other platforms as a backup, as a safety, and try to get people to go over there first, and then maybe slowly wean myself off the other platforms. I don't know. That's kind of my plan. It's nebulous, but you tell me what you think about it. I mean, I don't know. I really despise YouTube. However, I still got paid from YouTube last month, so I don't know. Is it worth it? I'm not sure if it's worth it. I'm not sure. Oh, you had to go to Rumble to catch me. Yeah, going south. Yeah, because my YouTube video is down. So as things stand right now, as Rockfin and Rumble are probably the safer places. Rockfin being probably safer than Rumble. I don't know. I don't know. Um, all right, so let's get into some things. Obviously, lots going on as usual. Also, again, I can't see your. If you do give me a super chat on YouTube, I can't see it. So please send me a chat saying like, "There's a donation. Please look at the donation." Otherwise, I can't thank you for it. I can't really see it unless I go to the YouTube app. Yeah, it looked like there was Trump and Melania both launched cryptocurrencies over the weekend. Uh, I missed the initial launch. I wish I would have gotten in on that, honestly, because had I been in on Friday or early Saturday morning, I probably could have made a shit ton of money, but I did not. I didn't see it until Sunday. Um, I actually bought some Trump coin. I know, might be kind of weird, but I was like, if it goes up, it did go up. So whatever. I'm waiting for a good moment to sell it, actually. Uh, but had you gotten in on like Friday or Saturday, you could have turned $20 into a couple of $1,000. So you know, do with that what you will. Trade crypto at your own discretion. All right. Can they be sold? Yeah, they can be sold. People are selling them right now. Um, yeah, you can get out of them. Right. Yeah, did you guys catch the Elon, the Mussolini, Zig Heil? I don't know what it was. They're saying he's autistic. Stop messing with the autistic people. I don't know, man. We saw some of that stuff when Trump was first elected in 2016. We saw some kind of overt, I don't know, Nazi imagery or kind of uh, Nazi I don't know, role playing, I guess, or something. I don't know. And I think it's all part of the theater. It's like go out and do this thing and get everybody all like, what? It's part of the theater. I think it's meant to get people all agog and aghast. Gene says, I've given my thoughts. We seriously need an independent platform that doesn't censor, data mine, or charge subscription fees. I'd love to be working on something like that, but my situation is I can't do squat. Well, let's 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 have open communication around that. If somebody finds something that looks promising, please let me know. If find something that looks promising, I will let you know. Um, there's a couple out there. There's a couple of things out there we can get into. Alrighty, so let's talk. Let's talk about some stuff. There were some strong Santa Anas last night again. It's pretty wild. They've all but died out now. It seems to be gone. But there were evacuation. There was a fire in San Diego. Evacuation orders. I don't know how it's going now. We'll look at it a little bit. Evacuation orders issued after fire breaks out in San Diego County. Structures threatened. Um, as of 11:30, which is recently, the Lilac fire had burned 80 acres and was 30% contained. The fire's forward rate of spread has been stopped. So there were evacuation orders issued. Um, it was reported early in the morning, 1:20 a.m., and there were evacuation orders issued for nearby areas. And it looks like those are still active evacuation warnings. So if you are in the area, um, you probably will still be under those orders. And this is actually an image of Altadena from the Eaton fire. This is winds blowing the ash from the Altadena fire off of the canyon. And there is a lot of ash up there. And right on. Thank you, going south. Thank you. Yeah, there's a ton of ash. We actually went up to look at my house on Sunday, and it was. I had the full had to wear a mask and had to put on some protective clothing because you could smell the toxicity in the air. There's a lot of ash around. And interestingly enough, while we were there, a couple fellows came up to us and said, "Hey," started asking us questions and taking pictures and whatnot. And would you look at this? Um, where are we? Hold on, I'm missing it. Yours truly made it into the New York Post. um, Here, you can see it here. This came up on my alerts, my Google alerts earlier today. LA fire victims return home to nothing as one family hunts for beloved bulldog. They interviewed many families, but here's my mug in the New York Post. This is the rest of my house here. So that was kind of weird. They were asking a bunch of questions and taking pictures and stuff, and I thought, like, well, I don't know what this is for. Anyways, it's kind of weird. Uh, what else is happening? The South is under an extreme uh, winter weather warning, and New Orleans has snow. New Orleans has snow. So does Houston. I saw a couple of my friends in Houston posting pictures of snow, and I got to tell you, that is a rare occurrence. Should have plugged Black Bear News. Yeah, I was talking about. They were just asking me questions about things, whatever. Anyways, a winter storm warning is in effect from 6 p.m. Monday through 6 p.m. Tuesday. That's today. Um, Winter storm will bring snow to Houston, along with a threat for ice and slippery roads Tuesday and Wednesday. So, this whole area is going to be shut down, absolutely shut down. Especially New Orleans. Like, I've been in New Orleans during an ice storm, and they shut everything down. Like, I didn't leave the house for like 3 days. Could not leave where I was staying for 3 days, and there was nowhere to go. Couldn't get across the bridges. I was stuck in New Orleans for 3 days. I was not necessarily happy about that. Um, so it is. This is a little pre-snow. I've already seen pictures of snow in New Orleans, and I'm sorry, not New Orleans, in Houston. But here's what New Orleans looks like, which is crazy. This is from 3 hours ago, downtown New Orleans. That's nuts. That is absolutely insane. Just to let you know, that should not be happening. That is not a thing that happens in normal weather. I know people are going to be like, "Oh, yeah, the weather always changes." And back in 1869, New Orleans had snow, and yeah, no, that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. What's happening is, if you want to cherry pick this event, you could probably do that. But if you want to put it together with all the other insane weather events that are happening over the last few years, then you might, if you put all that together, the data and the evidence and all the different points of data and evidence, just like you do with any other news story or item of interest, right? if you put all those points together, you would go like, oh yeah, something is really different. Yeah, something's really messed up. The weather of the planet Earth, is messed up. And Kamashwari Kate, no snow in Vancouver. Yeah, they're saying what is the commentary on this is that New Orleans may end up with more snow in January than Mammoth Mountain, California. California in a bit of a drought and of rain and snow, but not New Orleans, not Alabama, not Mississippi. They have snow on the Gulf Coast, which is super wild. Why is this happening? Just quickly show you why. Well, hold on. Let me show you this post first. Golly, Brave, what are you doing? It's annoying. Take a look at this image for the first time in recorded history. For the first time in recorded history, the immediate Gulf Coast is under a blizzard warning. Okay, so that ought to spark your antenna a little bit. This is likely a once in a lifetime event. No, wrong. Record scratch. No, not a once in a lifetime event. This is a new normal. This is what happens when the weather of the weather of the planet is screwed up because we're warming rapidly. Oh, but it's snow. This is where did the global warming go? This is because of global warming. If you understand the science at all, I know it seems a little contradictory. It's because the warm air is all up in the Arctic where it should not be, right? The jet stream is shredded, everything's messed up. The warm air is up in the Arctic, it's pushing out all the cold air to us. That's why this is happening. That's in a nutshell, that's what's going on. This is absolutely because of global warming. You just have to understand what the science tells you and be willing to look a little more deeply into it. I mean, you have hurricanes wiping out towns in North Carolina. You have fires burning down houses in Southern California. You have blizzards on the Gulf Coast. Just in the last couple of months, put all those together and go like, wow, that's a lot of crazy, wild, extreme weather events happening that are causing people to not be able to function in a normal manner. And if you want to expand your scope of, your viewfinder of what's going on in the world, you can, look at what has happened over the entire planet over the last year and go like, wow, crazy. There has been some insane, if you want to widen your scope further, you can go back over the last 4 or 5 years. What has been happening over the entire planet for the last 4 or 5 years are things have been getting weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder, right? Everything is out of whack. Extreme weather events are happening all over the place all the time now. And you are not safe. Wherever you are not safe. Let me tell you from experience, you are not safe. You think like, oh, I'm good. I'm over here in this, wherever it might be, geologically, climate change friendly area. Nope. You are wrong. You are absolutely wrong. San Antonio got an inch. Hey, Poppy Davis, what's up? How you doing? San Antonio, Texas, got an inch of snow. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Again, yeah, we can talk about other theories about things that are going on. We can talk about how the people in charge are managing this whole scenario. And if you came to the conclusion not very well, you would be correct. How are they managing all of this? Not well at all. They're why? Because they're going to tell you that climate change is happening, but they're not going to tell you how bad it is. They're not going to tell you, um, you know, gee, everybody should actually expect this to be happening all the time from now on. That things are going to get very, very bad. That things are going to get so bad that business as usual is not going to be able to be conducted, right? And if they tell people something quite as dire as that, then everybody's going to get really pissed off and go like, "What the hell? You guys destroyed our climate for profit, right? And told us, this is how everybody has to live, production and consumption, get you some, whatever, everybody, you get a McMansion, you get a McMansion, you get 4 cars in the driveway, you get a monster truck, right? They told you this is, this is how humans do it until the climate is wrecked. And now the climate is wrecked. And now people are going to be, if you told people the climate is wrecked and nothing's ever going to be normal again, well, then people would be really pissed at you. They can't tell you that. And that's how they are mismanaging this, right? Because the only way to manage this correctly is to tell people you are not safe wherever you are not safe. And so now, we're going to get off fossil fuels right away and we're going to do things in a completely different, we're going to do things in a resilient way that might allow people to possibly have a chance to continue to survive, for the earth to possibly have a chance to continue to survive. They are not going to do that for you. Don't ask them to do that. Don't expect them to do that. They're never going to do it, ever. And now Trump is president and he's pulled out of the Paris agreements. He's ramping up energy independence for the US and, going in the opposite direction of climate change. Why? He knows climate change is happening. He absolutely knows it's true and it's happening. Why? Because we need to gobble everything that we can gobble before everything falls apart. Because that's how they're going to play the game. It's, disaster capitalism. It's, last man standing wins, ideology. I don't know. That's how we're going to play the game. When everything falls apart, who can gobble up the most resources? Who can still cling to the most resources at the very end? It's still not going to matter because climate change doesn't care whether you're rich, poor, powerful, white, black. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter. It's gonna wreck you. So I know that all the superpowers of the world are trying to jockey for position and resources. It doesn't matter. Everyone's going to lose. Everyone loses, and nobody's going to win. That's how it's going to end. I know that sounds very sorry, doomy. Anyways, let's keep going. For the moment, we still have internet and power. And so we can talk about these things, and it may not matter what social app you're on, because if you don't have internet and power, who cares? You don't have a social app. You don't have any crypto. You don't have a Trump coin. You don't have nothing. You don't have Bitcoin. You got nothing. So, just be thankful you still have internet and power for the time being. And those things will too become, fleeting resources for people to depend on. Anthony Davis, how you doing, man? You're doing okay in Dallas? Are you guys seeing any craziness up there? I'm sure it's very cold. I'm sure it's extremely cold. Let's keep going. This is why all of this is happening. This is not made up. Nobody made up this chart. Nobody cherry picked this chart. This is, the global temperature. First 19 days of 2025 were an average 1.74C above pre-industrial. So, in the last year and a half, we have blown through 1.5 and we're never going back. There's, anybody who's like, well, I hope we can, avoid 1.5. They're working on old data, old assumptions, old knowledge. And frankly, they're probably, trying to run a game on you because they're trying to tell you that 1.5 is still, again, the governments of the world, the media of the world are like, well, I hope we can stay under 1.5. We are past 1.5. We're never coming back. It's never coming back. Okay. Just, this is where we are. We're at 1.74 C above pre-industrial. That's the first 19 days. In the last year and a half, we have been running above 1.5 the entire time. We are never going back, and we're verging on 2C. How soon will we reach 3C? That's, you should be more concerned with that than trying to stay or go back to 1.5 or stay under 1.5. How soon is it going to be before we reach 3C and all hell really breaks loose? 32, but no snow in Dallas. Okay. All right. That's survivable. Sure. Let me see. That's about 0.1 C warmer than the same period last year. Then we had an El Nino, now a La Nina. So this is the running global surface air temperature anomalies from pre-industrial. This is where we are now, right? Looks like we went back down to 1.5 in the middle of the year, last year. But if you're looking from the last year and a half, here's 1.5 in 2023. Then we ran hotter than 1.5 all the way up to the middle of last year where we went back down to 1.5 for a little while. No, sorry, 1.3. Then ran hot again all the way through this year. Back down to 1.3, then hot again all the way. We're averaging above 1.5. We're never going back. We're never going back to that. One 1.5 is done. Over. Done and dusted. It's done. There's no way we're going back to 1.5. All right. So Trump issued, I don't know how many, 200 executive orders, some crazy amount of executive. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. Um, the dude says need more GMOs. Okay. All right. Thanks for the link, Denver. We'll circle back around to this, or I will read it tomorrow. This is from today. Is this when is this from? It's from today? No, a week ago. Okay. Woo! Y'all ever use oregano oil for anything? That is strong. It is strong. All right. Trump declares national energy emergency, which is Kind of interesting because it's a national emergency. What does that allow? Um, what does that allow the government to do? What kind of leeway does that give the government a national emergency? I wonder. He declared a national energy emergency, as he aims to boost fossil production. Well, that'll help. That'll help everything. He ordered the U.S. to withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement. Um, I guess we've talked about this a million times. Um, it doesn't really, it's more of a, just a gesture that think climate change is a real thing or is not. But like being in the Paris Agreement doesn't is not really going to do anything for anybody. And we also know that the Paris Agreement is absolutely toothless, non-binding and toothless, and overrun by fossil fuel companies anyway. So fossil fuel lobbyists have gutted the Paris Agreement to the point where who cares? Who cares if you're in the Paris Agreement? I don't really care. Um, and I don't even care on the level of like, oh, but he's telling people that we don't care about climate change. I mean, we already know we don't care about climate change. Is it worse to say you care about climate change and do everything opposite of that, or just say we don't care about climate change and just be upfront about it? I mean, Biden is pretty much that person. Oh yeah, climate change is a big deal, but how about some more fossil fuel production? How about more oil wells? How about more oil leases? I mean, I don't know what's worse. I honestly like saying that you care about something when you know very well you know, damn well that you don't. I don't know. The hypocrisy is the one that actually makes people mad, right? And hypocrisy is actually what is leading people to not believe in climate change and not care about climate change and not take it seriously and think that you're full of shit and not ever want to listen to you when you ever say anything. Like it's the hypocrisy is is a I don't know, it's a very toxic thing. So, you know, I don't I look, I don't think this is a good thing. I don't think any of this is a good thing. I don't think Trump declaring a national energy again, this is all about resources. This is all about, you know, getting all the resources you can and maybe on a short term, maybe this is good for the US. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't, I'm saying short-term economic thinking. Not it's not how I think, but if you're a person that's worried about the economy in the short term, it's probably a good thing. I don't know. But as far as global warming goes, as far as long-term planning, as far as seven generational planning, this is terrible. You know that. Oh yeah, that's interesting. Trump can drill in the Gulf of America despite the ban for the Gulf of Mexico. That's interesting. That's it. Just change the name and everything's good. Ah, I see the game. I see the game. Anyways, let's keep going. Trump also revoked goals set by Biden administration to boost electric vehicle sales, achieve carbon-free electricity sector, and achieve net zero emissions. Again, I'm not. It wasn't going in that direction anyways. I mean, I guess if you like solar panels, and sure, I want a solar panel, but electric cars are not green. We know this. Most of the renewable electric grid is not green. Again, we have to do much more foundational planning if we're really going to be serious about getting off of fossil fuels. It's more about ideology and mindset. It's more about the paradigm in which you are thinking, and not necessarily about trying to remake make the energy sector into this renewable energy sector, but keeping, the level of energy going. By the way, all those renewables are only going to increase, Jevons paradox, increase the use of fossil fuels. So, all of this really is just like very surfacey language around energy and renewables, and people are going to get all hyped on this if you're on the right and bummed about this if you're on the left. And I'm going to tell you, none of it matters. None of it freaking matters. Okay. So, um, in the long run, until we understand and put forward a more foundational way, lifestyle, change in how we think around like human civilization on the whole, we're not going to do anything about this, until we all agree that like we should all be living on, very little energy, and, you know, basically put all corporations out of business by ending the purchase of pretty much everything that we own and run our lives on. If we could get people convinced that you have all the clothes that you're going to need for the next couple of years, and what you really need to do, by the way, what you really need to do is grow your own food, either, on your plot of land or with your community, and, completely transition away from the consumption model that we all live in. Until we do that, none of this matters. And that's such a, foundational, that's such a rejection of, almost everything that we do. It's hard for people to actually imagine doing that, or, you know, being willing to do that. We could, though. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people out there that might want to do it. Sure, there's lots of people that might understand it. Are we ready? Are we ready to do that? Are we ready to reject the entire consumer culture of our civilization and put, you know, pretty much everybody out of business? Right? You can put fossil fuel industry out of business, tomorrow, if you have enough people on board. If you have enough people going like, I'm good, not going to do it anymore, not going to go to work, not going to get in my car, not going to buy any more shit, going to grow, try and get as much food as I can growing in my garden, and hunker down for the next couple of years and live on very little of anything, any energy, until you get people, aligned with that kind of thinking. We're going to be stuck in this system because we all play along. We all play along. So, as long as we're all playing along with this, none of this really matters. It just doesn't matter. Okay. Sorry, I'll stop going off. President Trump on Monday declared a national energy emergency, ordered the U.S. to withdraw from the Paris Agreement. I don't even need to really read much more of this, I don't think. He says, though, um, he says, we will drill, baby, drill, said during an inaugural address. Um, he promised to slash energy costs in half within the first year of his administration. Good luck with that. Maybe, I don't know. Trump's declaration directed the heads of federal agencies to identify and exercise any lawful emergency authorities available to them. Wow. So that's significant just on its own, because you're basically saying it's an emergency. You guys can do whatever you want. That's frightening to me. Um, the national energy emergency is crucial because we are in an AI race with China, and our ability to produce domestic American energy is so crucial that we can generate the electricity and power that's needed to stay at the global forefront of technology. All right. Trump is abandoning the Biden administration's domestic and international commitments to fight climate change, which were all a big fat freaking ruse, anyways. They were not really dedicated to that, not on any, not in any fundamental way. The U.S. will consider its withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement to be effective as soon as the UN ambassador submits notification to the United Nations, according to the president's executive order. The landmark international treaty seeks to limit rising global temperatures to 1.5 degrees Celsius. That is also a joke because we're past it and we're never going back to it. And that's, again, where the hypocrisy and the lies are. You're lying to people about what's actually happening right now in the moment. Like, how is anybody going to listen to you? You can't lie to people. You can't lie. Yeah, for the most part, the fires are, you know, mostly under control, Anthony. um. Anyways, he also signed orders to revoke Biden's actions that barred oil and gas drilling in large swaths of the Arctic and in U.S. coastal waters, a move that will likely be contested in court. He also repealed the Biden administration goals for half of all new car sales to be zero-emission vehicles by 2030, to achieve a carbon-free electricity sector by 2035, and achieve net zero emissions no later than 2050. All right. The U.S. is already the largest crude producer, outpacing Saudi Arabia and Russia. That's fairly significant. The CEOs of Exxon and Chevron have said oil and gas production levels are based on market conditions and are unlikely to increase significantly in response to who is in the White House. Um, that's funny. Uh, Exxon CEO Darren Woods told CNBC that the U.S. shale production has not faced external restrictions under the Biden administration. So he wasn't really, restricting the fossil fuel companies, anyways. So um, there are areas in the Gulf of Mexico that have not opened up due to federal permitting. Woods said at the time, Biden administration had planned the fewest oil and gas lease sales in history in a 5-year program that runs through 2029. Anyways, there are several emergency statutes Trump could invoke to increase gasoline and electricity supplies, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. There's more to cover, so let's keep going. Rio is under a heat advisory today. Okay. Um, 3 degrees in Chicago. SPR. What is SPR? Reflect the sun. Shale production rate. Well, somebody was saying that in the chat that the price per barrel of oil was fairly low and that they don't want to overproduce in order to, you don't want to glut the market because then you can't charge what you can charge. What's interesting to me is that the price per barrel of oil is at $70, but the price for gasoline is so dang high. Like, I feel like the price per barrel of oil is beneath what it was like 20 years ago. And yet the price per gallon of gas is like double what it was 20 years ago. They're making a lot of profit. Those companies are making. If is Trump going to cut their profit margins, because that's the best way to cut the price of energy right now would be to say, hey, you guys can't profit that much from this gas, right? You can't do it. You're going to have to cut prices. You think they're going to do that? They're not. Oh, petroleum reserve. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, you're right. They released a bunch of oil supplies in order to cut gasoline prices, but it didn't really go down that much. I mean, it was really barely like it was a tick. Anyways, let's keep going because it's late in the day, and then there's also other things that Trump issued EOs on that some are okay, some are not okay. It's a mixed bag. Trump revokes Biden order aimed at cutting prescription drug costs. That's so not cool. All three insulin makers have announced price increases ranging from 2,000 to 3,000%. Jesus Christ. After President Trump rescinded Biden's executive order curbing drug prices. Oh, wait. Is this satirical? Sorry. All right. Sorry about that. This is apparently satirical. I thought this was a real. My bad, guys. I usually try to suss these out. Hold on one second. Well, that's kind of messed up. Let me make sure this is. I try to catch these. I guess that's real. Okay. He did rescind this order. And that is, again, really messed up. Bella says, my prescriptions have gone up 150%. Since when? Through the Biden admin or in the last 3 months or in the last week? I don't know. Since when? Um, yeah, so I guess this is a real thing. He said it was satire. I don't understand. Anyways, maybe what he was saying was satire. This is not good. This is a not good executive order. In the last 3 months, shit. Oh my God, sorry to hear that. No, that's brutal. That's brutal. Yeah, this is not good. This is not good for people who don't have any money, who are paying for prescription drugs. Um, Fred, I don't know much about that at the moment. I mean, I know it's a thing that happens, but I haven't really seen a lot on the space junk thing. Okay, so let's read this. Donald Trump just signed a wave of executive orders. We rescinded 78 Biden EOs. He implemented a regulatory freeze to halt new regulations until full control of government is achieved. This could be a plus or minus, depending on the regulations. I don't know. Freezing federal hiring with exceptions for the military and other specified categories. Requiring all federal workers to return to full-time in-person work. That's ridiculous. Directing every federal department and agency to address the ongoing cost of living crisis. Okay, well, That, hopefully that bears some fruit. Are they really going to address the cost of living crisis? How are they going to do that? Are they going to lower gas prices by half? Because they could, but that would be ordering Exxon and all the fossil fuel companies to lower their profits significantly. I don't think they're going. But if you did that, that would be the single most important thing you could do. You want to lower the cost of living, just slash the energy prices immediately. Tell them they can, and that everybody. Guess what that is? Communism. Yeah, that's socialism. If you want to, I mean, it's not price fixing, but it's you're disabling companies from price gouging, which is what they're doing. Hand over fist, they're price gouging. If you slash the price of energy, it would bring the cost of almost everything down. And that would be the single most important thing you could do. Is he going to do that? Hell no, he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. All right. Withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement, saving over $1 trillion. I guess, sure, if you're saving money on it, I guess, whatever. Restoring freedom of speech and preventing government censorship of free speech. Okay, I'm for that. Is he gonna do that? Elon Musk already censors more people than Jack Dorsey ever did. So is he gonna do that? I hope it's real. I hope it's true. I don't believe it. Sorry. I don't know. We'll see. Ending the weaponization of government against political adversaries of the previous administration. What about adversaries of his administration? Is he going to end the weaponization of his administration against people? I mean, he was the one that was saying that they were going to deport anti-Semites. That would be weaponization of people politically, against people politically. That would be absolutely wrong. Again, I support this in theory, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know. I don't know. um, Denver, the Biden EO only applied to about 20 drugs, and most of them hadn't been phased in yet. Okay. Anyways, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this all plays out. Let's keep going. Um, few other things to look at. This is from an account called The Heretical Liberal. Looks Canadian. I guess part of the other EOs had to do with transgender rights and/or the recognition of two sexes. I don't know. This is a mixed bag for me. Uh, he says, could the New York Times misread the room anymore? They framed Trump's executive order saying that men can no longer be placed in female prisons as removing protections for transgender people in federal prisons. Okay, listen, I don't want, men should not be in female prisons. Men shouldn't be, this is just me. Men shouldn't be in female bathrooms. Sorry, men shouldn't be playing female sports. If you don't like me for that, I don't care. That's just my thoughts of it on it. That's I don't believe that's correct. Why? Because I believe that women have the right to be protected, and the women have a right to, you know, feel safe in in a prison or in their own restrooms or in their own locker rooms or in their own areas, and they also should not have to compete with biological men in sports. Sorry, that's just what. If you think I'm wrong for that, I don't care. Um, I feel like transgender people should have the right to be transgender and to live in the way they want to live. They should be protected. They should be protected in the way that they want to live. But transgressing into other areas where they should not be just because they decided I'm female or I'm male today, sorry, not protected. Again, I don't care. Anyways, so I agree with the heretical liberal on this. And I also agree that transgender immigrants shouldn't be like put first on the list for sex change operation. Like, come on, man, that's not important. Not if you're coming to the United States, like, okay, worry about getting. People should get health care who citizens should get health care first, period, end of story. And I'm not really like the Gavin Newsom giving migrants or people who are immigrating here all free health care when people that work here and pay taxes don't get free health care. No, that's a no for me, dog. So give the people that are citizens health care first, then you can give people immigrating here healthcare, along the way. Sorry. It's just, I don't, I'm not down with that stuff. If you think I'm a bad person, again, I don't really care. I just feel like that's, whatever. I also don't, the whole insistence that men can have, the whole like, brain fry, like men can have babies. No, they cannot. I, you know, men can be men and women can be women. I don't really care. Like, just let people be what they are and who they are. Um, and again, if you're trans, like, fine, it's fine. Like, everybody should, your right to be trans should be protected. But again, encroaching on other people's rights to be like call themselves man or woman or identify as man or woman, no, like no, no, sorry. So and the majority of people that are biologically men or women. They are men or women. They identify as such. It's not a big deal. Like, it's just not a big deal. Anyways, um, and I feel like most people think this way. Like, this is not like wild thinking. Most people think this way. Most people are like, yeah, let people be people. I don't care. Like, people don't care. You want to be trans, be trans. You want to be gay, be gay. I don't, I'm not like, I don't have any biblical affiliations, but just like, let's not go way over don't go too far with it. Okay. All right. Okay. Um, and here's another one, I guess, is one more from the heretical liberal about the language around being a male or female is like, yeah, just let's see. The erasure of sex in language and policy has a corrosive impact not just on women, but on the validity of the entire American system. I mean, it's kind of like, right? Latino people they're not into Latinx. They're like, I don't care about Latinx. Like, be quiet about Latinx. Like, Latino, Latina. There's, sex, gender is very wrapped up in their language and it's wrapped up in people's identities, like big time, big time. So to erase that is kind of like trying to erase people's identities. And I think people have already rebelled against that. Anyways, whatever. Uh, Again, this is not, I'm not anti anybody. I'm not anti LGBTQ or anyone. I'm not anti-trans. I'm not anti anybody. But just I'm anti it going too far. Um, you know, Anyways, let's keep going. We're almost done. We're almost done. Yeah, so some of these things might be welcome to some people. Some of them may be not very welcome at all. I think it's a mixed bag. I don't think I'm not on the. We'll see what happens. I'm not. I don't really have high hopes for any of this. I don't have high hopes for you know the next 4 years, obviously. But if some good things come from it, I will applaud them when they happen. I think it's already been. I think the ceasefire is already a non-ceasefire. So the whole like, yay, Trump. I think that was a big um, a ruse, if you will. Let's see. Anyways, on day one, Trump signed executive orders to declare a national emergency at the Mexico border. Okay, I don't know, whatever. I don't believe that either. Revoke Biden's H-1B policy. I don't believe it. Release all J6ers. I think that's good because I think most of them were entrapped. And birthright citizenship. No, I think that's whack. How long? So that's not going to fly. The birthright citizenship has always been a thing, hasn't it? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's a new thing. Maybe I'm wrong. But people are already citizens, and I don't know that I don't know that people really abuse that. I actually don't believe this is a thing because the 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 current population of the United States, the birth rates are going down, the fertility rates are going down, and for the most part, I think that generally the governments Western of all Western countries are welcoming immigration because it keeps their population numbers up and it keeps their economy going. If your population gets too low or the trajectory gets too low, your economy is going to tank. So I think all of this is like bullshit. So for the most part, every president, whether they say they don't like immigration or like immigration, they need immigration to happen because they need to keep the population going up. Yeah, and government censorship of social media. Let's see. Are you for birthright citizenship, Poppy, or against, or do you care? And government censorship of social media. Okay, I can get behind that one. I don't think that's real. I don't think much of this is real. Withdraw from the WHO. Sure, I'm behind that. Again, I don't think much of this is real. I don't think much of this is going to be truly realized. This is mostly pomp and circumstance. But whatever, everybody can get happy or sad about it if you want. Um, Last thing, this is interesting to me because we have talked a lot about Trump issuing bringing in. Oh, is it not there? Hold on. I think this got deleted. Hold on one second. Maybe not. Okay. Is that not a real post? Okay. Or was it? Maybe it was a real post and it got taken down. Hold on one second. Let me go see if I can find this one. Poppy says, I'm for keeping birthright citizenship. Can't really see how it could work. I think, honestly, I think that's going to get struck. Like, that's not going to fly. The Supreme Court's going to strike that one. Yeah, I don't see that one working out. And are you cutting it off from today going forward? What's the cutoff? What's the date? That changes. I just Yeah, that one's a weird one to me. I do not support that one. Not at all. Um, Hold on one second. Let me see if I can find this. Um, See if I can find this. I don't know if this is really. Well, okay, maybe this is an unsubstantiated post. So it's in the Constitution, yeah? Yeah, I don't think. I feel like birthright citizenship has always been a thing. Yes? I don't know how you could change it. I don't see how that stands. Um Anyways, Trump, there's warnings that Trump is going to be the one that oversees a digital dollar, transition to a digital dollar, and the various ways um, that could happen. So I don't know. That's something to think about, plan for. If you're worried about a digital dollar, if you're worried about going to a CBDC or some kind of coin like that, we may see that in the next 4 years. That has that has concern, people concerned. So um, hold on one second. Oh, it's in the 14th Amendment. Okay. So it hasn't always been. It's 1868. I looked it up. I didn't know whether it had always been. All right. Yeah. I don't, you can't really rescind that, can you? Not by executive order. So in the 14th Amendment, um, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. The amendment overrode the Supreme Court decision in Dred Scott versus Sanford, 1857, that denied U.S. citizenship to African Americans, whether born in the United States or not. Um, wow. Okay, so it was later extended to Native Americans in 1924. Wow. They didn't even Native born Americans weren't even U.S. citizens. That's wild. That is wild. The Indian Citizenship Act of 1924. Federal law also grants birthright citizenship to children born elsewhere in the world to U.S. citizens, with certain exceptions. Huh. Dissenting view holds that the 14th Amendment does not apply to the children of unauthorized immigrants born on U.S. soil. So that's much more specific, though. That's way more specific, right? If you are here illegally or you're not applying for citizenship or I don't know. If you're not here, if you're not supposed to be here, you're unauthorized and you have a child here, then having the child not be a citizen automatically. I suppose that could make certain sense. But a blanket ban on birthright citizenship would just be weird and definitely unconstitutional. So I don't see how this one stands. I don't see how it stands. But that's extremely specific, right? I don't know. During the first Trump administration, on January 24th, 2020, the Trump administration adopted a policy to make it more difficult for pregnant foreign women to come to the U.S. in cases where it was suspected that the purpose was to give birth on U.S. soil and thereby to ensure U.S. citizenship of resulting children or practice supporters of immigration restrictions termed as birth tourism. Upon taking office for a second term in 2025, Trump issued an executive order purporting to redefine birthright citizenship, although its legality is disputed. Well, yeah, 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 it's totally unconstitutional unless you specifically can pass something that you know whatever. Unless you can specifically pass something that has language around, you know, being here against the law and having a child. Maybe that would fly. I don't know. Anyways, controversial stuff for sure. Um, who knows? Who knows where this is going to go? I don't think we're going to see another RussiaGate this time around, though. Um, I wonder how much opposition Trump is going to get to much of his policy. There seemed to be much more scrutiny and opposition the last time around, and looks like there's going to be smooth sailing for the Trump administration as far as like trying to get what they want done, and that ain't a good thing, y'all. That's not a good thing for the most part. Um, all right. We're gonna I'm gonna pass out from breathing in oregano oil. this, this stuff is got me spinning. All right. Dual yeah, all right. Let's see. Hold on, I'm just looking at some of the comments here before I take off. Um, all right. Osama on Rockfin says, I identify as a conspiracy theorist. My pronouns are I told you so. Uh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, I feel like most people are on board with with that. Okay. Did Trump really do that much? I mean, yeah, he did. He also was a proponent, or he signed the Operation Warp Speed, the vaccines, the COVID shots. That was a military exercise. Okay, stamped by Trump. Same with the CARES Act. Those are pretty big things. Um, you know, they also his judicial picks, are pretty. Um, they have lasting implications, and the Democrats for the most part were like, okay, they didn't really oppose. They got out and did Instagrams about how they opposed it, but they didn't really oppose it. So when people want to say like, oh well, all the courts are conservative now, it's Trump's fault. There wasn't a lot of pushback from the Democrats, and there also wasn't a lot of rollback from the Democrats when Biden was in office. They didn't go like, all right, we're gonna roll all this back and try and change the. They didn't do much. They complained, but they didn't really do much. But that's their job, is to look like the opposition and not act like the opposition. But all right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow, the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific. Some people call it noon. All right. Thanks, guys. Don't know if I have anybody to thank. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Um, but I thank you for hanging out and hanging in. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all. All right. White Bear News. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks. Take it easy.